Yo, what's going on, Nomads? Welcome to episode 27 of Backspace Nomads. My name's Brian. Of course, my wonderful, delightful co-host, Monica. Monica, how you doing today?
That's me. I'm just dandy, Brian. How are you?
Why does everything have to revolve around D? A couple episodes ago, you had to be delightful and rub it in my face, and now you're dandy.
I like D.
Okay. So today on the podcast, we are going to be reviewing the new Supergiant game, Pyre, and then we're going to be discussing our favorite gaming scenes, kind of what makes a great gaming scene. But before that, we had to kind of clear the air here with Monica about what's going on in the indie game scene right now.
So I don't even know if it's happening right now. I feel like it's been happening for a while, and I also feel like we've alluded to this. You know, we've jumped into discussing what we've been seeing on Kickstarter. We had an entire segment before where we tried to find a game to back on Kickstarter and found it relatively impossible. At this point, we've been doing these shows for a while now. We're on episode 27. And I just want to explain a little bit of what we do in order to find a game to play.
The process.
We actually start searching. Not just articles, not just like top games coming out. We search through upcoming releases, all of them, every single one. And we open them up and we read about them and we read about who is publishing them. And we try to get a good sense of what's coming out and what might be valuable and interesting for everyone to hear about. And I tell you what, it's really, really, really difficult. And it shouldn't be so difficult to find a good game. There is so much trash out there. And it's getting to the point where I just don't even understand how people are supposed to find good games and all of this garbage that is allowed to be released.
Steam's like the new and upcoming releases from Steam is like a dumpster. You have to scroll through at least 2 or 3 pages before you find like the diamond in a rough that you're like, this one might have a chance.
It needs to be curated for you almost.
Yes.
And that's the thing is that some companies actually are putting out lists of like the top indie games and everything, but there almost needs to be some type of like rating system of a game before it even comes out where you can go in and you can say like, look, these people have put time and effort into games before, or it's labeled like, you know what, even just a label that says this person has never made a game before. And if they've never made a game before and their first game is like $2.99 and it's made on Unreal 4 and it's a walking simulator, like maybe just stay away from it or create it yourself and put it out on Steam because it's insane, the trash that's out there, and I'm getting really fucking sick of it.
I would love to have like a label that is just like, this person gave a shit. Like the stamp of like, this person cared about you. They made a game that might be fun for you, and then everyone else can just get the fuck out. Right.
Or just, you know, this person knows how to use a computer. That would be... I don't know. It's just, it's, and you know, this is a little bit of a bitch fest for me, and I understand that. But
air it out.
We can't be the only people feeling this. I know a lot of people that want to find unique indie games and support indie games, and there is just so much trash out there. And I've got to say, like, Steam shouldn't, in my opinion, Steam should not feel like Kickstarter. Like we saw the kind of trash that's on Kickstarter. How are those Kickstarter games actually making it onto Steam?
Yeah.
No one backed them. So how did they make it? How did they make it onto Steam? It's
Monica, they had a dream, okay? They had a dream. They kept going for it.
Oh man.
I feel like we found the solution though. These people it's kind of like the Wild West out there. People just feel like they're lawless. They can put whatever horrible game they want out there and there's going to be no repercussions. But I think we came up with an idea that, you know, you might think twice before submitting these games to Steam.
You know, when you think about even just like other sites, and I'm not going to start promoting other like websites, but you know what, screw it. Like Yelp, you know, they have like promoted Like, and granted, like when you go on Yelp, you're promoting and you see like promoted things. It's always like Long John Silver's, you know. It's like people that like they're gonna get downvoted to hell. So I'm not saying that Yelp's review system should be like the promotion review system on Steam, but like they should do something like that where it's just actual content. These people have put out games before that have, you know, or like even just like I said, even just a tag where it says like this person has put out a game before that is either mixed review or above.
Yeah. There has to be a threshold they reach.
Right.
That we are never going to find the really good games that are just kind of hiding beneath all this nonsense.
Right. It just would make it so much easier. And I feel for everyone. I feel for me. I feel for you, Brian, and I feel for everyone else that's trying to search for these games and the way that. And I guess that's, you know, that kind of comes down to like content creators. It makes them very, very important because they're the ones rooting these things out, putting them out there, giving these opinions. You know, YouTube is a great source. Twitch is a great source. Mixer is a great source in order to be able to find. Our podcast is a great source. Well, in order to be able to find a game that will work. But man, it's unbelievable. I can't really go into depth, but like Brian knows when we're going through these games trying to find the right ones to review for you all. I sometimes just go on these rants.
Just expletives, like leaning back like this shit, this is awful. And so we kind of got to thinking, and so we launched our Patreon last week, right? And so what I was alluding to earlier is that we have a solution, at least to maybe cope with how horrible these games are. These $2.99, $5 games that shouldn't be in the world. So what we're going to start doing is grabbing these games and then like really giving the most honest, visceral review that you could do of these games. And we're going to throw them up on Patreon for you guys. So we'll start putting that content up on Patreon probably within a month over at patreon.com/BackspaceNomads. And I think if Monica brings how much hatred she has while we're searching, if she brings like 2% of that energy into that little Patreon content, it's going to be the most ridiculous stuff we've ever put out because it cracks me up nonstop when we're searching for games. It's almost become a highlight of my week. Like we're just kind of going through the motions, getting the show set up, and I'm like, here it comes. Here we go. We're getting ready to find a game. And then Monica just starts teeing off on everything.
And that's just one thing is, you know, this we don't want to be reviewing and just absolutely like shitting on games on this show. We want to play great games. I mean, that's the goal here. But there are so many things out there that I am just 100% ready to just squat over and like dookie all over. Like it's just I will fucking X-lax the shit out of myself in order to like provide a proper dookie on some of these games. So
just gargoyle over them.
Yeah, I will gargoyle. I don't know if everyone knows what gargoyling is.
No one on this podcast knows.
You know what? Yeah, so gargoyling, just so that you have some context here, is no one needs a squatty potty. You have all had the capability of taking care of the proper form since the dawn of time, and that is just gargoyling your toilet. So when the squatty potty came out, I was like, don't worry about that, just gargoyle. Thanks for sharing that, Brian.
You're welcome. The nomads on the internet deserve to know what the gargoyle is.
It's true. Don't invest in squatty potty. Use your body.
You're just fucking dumb. All right, let's go on over to our review of Pyre, I guess. Pyre was released July 25th, 2017 onto the PC, PS4, and I think Xbox for a price of $9.99. Developed and published from Supergiant Games. Pyre is a party-based...
$9.99? I thought it was $19.99.
I'm sorry. My notes were wrong. $14.99.
19.
Right? $19.99.
25.
Can I hear 26? So Pyre is a party-based RPG in which you lead a band of exiles to freedom through ancient competitions spread across a vast mystical purgatory. Who shall return to glory and who shall remain in exile to the end of their days? Monica, what are your expectations going into Pyre?
You know, I really wasn't sure what to think about this game. I was excited, just the visual, if you watch some of the trailers and everything, the visuals are stunning. And it seemed like the gameplay was unique. It almost
Hmm.
seemed a little bit um, like you would be taking steps I can't use my words right now, this is a problem, but that you would it almost seemed like turn based when in reality it's
Right.
not that at all. But I was excited about it seemed interesting, the artwork looked amazing, and I have high expectations
Hmm.
of this group, so I was very excited to try it out.
Yeah, Supergiant Games is probably one of the bigger indie game developers around.
Hmm.
They're just an amazing dev house. They made Bastion, they made Transistor, both of which were huge hits in their own right. So I had nothing but excitement, just anticipation for this game. I'd been looking at it for a while. Unlike all the other games that we kind of slugged through Steam to get to, this was on my radar, and I was excited to finally get here so we could start playing this game and reviewing it.
Hmm.
What were some things about Pyre that you liked?
All right. So, first thing I need to say here is that as soon as I started playing, I realized that the way that this game is set up is unique, at least to me,
Hmm.
in the sense that it is considered an RPG. At first, though, it's very like you're following specific steps,
Hmm.
but you're jumping through a storyline, and then you are jumping into a battle system. And the battle system is more of like a sports setup where
Hmm.
it is three against three. You're grabbing a ball and you're trying to get it into the goal, also known as the other team's pyre. And I loved the battle system. I thought the battle
Absolutely.
system was really fun. If I had any complaints about the battle system, it would be that the level that you start off is pretty easy. It's
Hmm.
not difficult in order to be able to win against your adversary. But in general, it's really exciting. It almost reminded me, like, as I was playing, I'm like, this is like Rocket League, except I'm controlling all of the characters.
That's a very close. That's a very astute observation. Is Rocket League X?
Yeah.
Um, when you're playing it, it's such a simple concept. You have this ball, you can pass it between your two or three characters on the field, get it into the other person's net, so to speak. Very simple concept, right? But the great thing about it is that there is, I don't know, 6 to 7 different classes you can kind of play as, and
Right.
every character is in your campaign has a different kind of class that you play as. So this concept that is so simple is actually ridiculously deep in design and how much variation, how much strategy goes into it. Some characters are faster, some of them have better defensive skills, and the amount of combinations you can put through and like combining your different characters throughout it kept the battle system fresh. I think I put about 9 hours into the game, and every
Hmm.
battle was fresh. It was challenging, and that is such a feat to accomplish in a and kind of in gaming, we almost feel like sometimes we've seen everything, and they
Right.
really dug out their own unique little area to be in. And the only kind of complaint I would have in the battle system, and it's so small, I don't want to bring it up in things I dislike. I just want to touch on it real quick. Is that there is so much like color and gorgeousness going on in this game, and that in the battle system, I would get lost, and I would like what's going on? Okay, I guess I scored. I'll take that.
Oh, really?
Yes,
I didn't have that.
I don't know. Maybe it's just because I'm like decaying mentally slowly. I guess I don't know. But there are times where I would get lost in the battle system and not know what was going on.
Yeah.
Like the colors, everything. It was very busy, but it is by far one of the funnest battle systems I've played.
Another thing I want to point out is that in the battle system, you basically each of your pyres start off with 100 points, and
Hmm.
as you get the orb to the other person, or to your adversary's pyre, it goes down, and the first person that extinguishes the flame of the pyre wins.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing about it, though, is it starts off as like three against three, but as soon as you put one of your characters in, and you take some of the points away from the other pyre, that character is no longer available on your team, so it's now
Right.
two against three.
Yep.
And it adds this it sounds almost too difficult. It's really not, unless you're playing on a more difficult level, but it makes it more interesting, I would say,
Yeah.
for sure. So yeah, I was really impressed by the battle system as a whole. Another thing that and this I could talk about a lot too, but I'm going to say that one of my favorite things about this game, if not my overall favorite thing, is the exploration in this game. And I mean that in every realm possible. The world that you can explore is colorful, beautiful, interesting. You can explore your own wagon. You're traveling around this world in a wagon. That you start to collect objects that when you're in your wagon, you can click on them and they do different things.
Very Hearthstone-esque in that.
Yeah, that part is very, very fun. You're navigating, you're exploring as well through the stars. You're using stars in order to figure out where you want to go. And then also the exploration of characters was really, really interesting to me. So the RPG elements of this are definitely driven by the character development. There's a lot of different characters in this game, and you can kind of pick and choose who you're most interested in and learn more about their story as you're going along. But you unlock details about them, which, as weird as this sounds, the way you find out about your characters is almost like a dating simulator.
It really is.
Where you are, you talk to them, and the way you interact with them, you actually start filling out their profile.
Dude,
and
no wonder you love this game.
I love dating sims. Let me just tell you. No. But it really does feel, while you're not actually going, you're not romantically involved with any of these characters, you are learning about them by exploring. And I found that was just the exploration. If I said that there was a theme in this game, it would be exploration and everything that they made. And I really, really liked that.
Yeah, this game definitely just goes deep. And like you're saying, every character that starts...
Whoa, Brian.
What? Emotionally. Emotionally, all right? Like every character that you interact with in this game that joins your party, they seem kind of interesting at the very beginning when you first start talking to them, and then the more you branch out, they have really interesting character in this game, very unique. I think the dog who is a person but also has a mustache would kind of be my favorite. I don't know why he's rocking that tiny mustache, but
I had him shave it off.
You had him shave it off?
Yeah.
Oh, I let him rock that stuff. You be yourself, little doggy. I think the biggest thing that I liked in this game had to be the art. This art is probably the height of indie gaming and indie style to me. The way they use colors is so smart in this game. The way they differentiate every level, every area in the game, how you move through it is just inspiring at times. I don't think I see too many games execute this level of art ever. And that's from big development houses who have millions and millions of dollars. They don't have as much heart as this game does. So art for me is a big one. What's the
last one for me? It was definitely the style and the art.
Yeah.
The best way I can describe it, and you're listening to this, so it's probably just in your best interest to go and check out a couple images of it as well.
Yeah.
But it seems like you are traveling through those adult coloring books. It feels like you're traveling through a really well done adult coloring book that has been completed.
Yes.
Which, when you think about an adult coloring book or coloring books in general, no one completes them. So just it being completed is impressive. But on top of it, it's an adult one. So you're not having to look at like shitty cartoons or just, inanimate objects. No, seriously, though, the art and the style in this game is absolutely amazing. It was fun. It was visually stimulating, and I loved it.
And the last thing is just to continue on style, the sound of this game. The soundtrack to this game is exactly what you would expect from Supergiant Games if you played it before. It's a rustic, acoustic, kind of rock a little bit soundtrack, and it just is so unique in the gaming world. I don't play games that have soundtracks like this. Everyone tries to go super whimsical or, bigger than they are. This game is completely different, and they have times where they just play songs while you're traveling through, and it is just a delight to use another
All
bring back
right,
a D
let's jump
word for
into the
you.
bad. I didn't like
Here
the
it-
music.
You motherfucker! Every time. Why do you do this?
I don't know. You know, I feel like a lot of people really probably would enjoy the music. For me, I just didn't feel like it fit at times. I felt like it actually took me out of the game. I felt as though it was sometimes too harsh. And that wasn't just like the rock elements or anything like that. It just didn't seem to really mold into the atmosphere that I was experiencing
Like it wasn't
artistically.
baked into it almost.
Yeah, it took me
Okay.
out. It didn't feel like it paired it well. It didn't
Okay.
feel like it paired well. You know, and I don't know. I like I said, it took me out. I could see why people would think, wow, this is really unique. This is, you know, my cup of tea. This feels different. And from that, I agree. But did I like the music with this game? I don't know. The one thing that I will say though is that the jukebox in your wagon was kind of a cool touch. Where the music failed for me, just like that inclusion was really interesting and awesome. I feel like there are just so many little things, like hitting on the exploration point again,
Yeah.
that work for this game and make it. You can almost just poke around at things and
Sure.
enjoy yourself that way. So, but yeah, music, no, man.
Did you dig the narrator? His voice?
I was okay with him.
Okay.
He's not on my list of good or bad. I think that they've used him in the past, the same narrator, and it's whatever for me. Why? Are you not a big fan?
No, I am. I was just curious, kind of as a audio thing. Like, how are you feeling about the entire audio of the game? I think for me, the biggest dislike that I have in this game was how hard it was for me to connect to the story. I don't know what it was about this game.
I do.
What?
You have to read so much.
That is not true. I am an avid reader, okay? I am a very good reader.
Ryan doesn't know how to read, everyone.
They don't know that, all right? All right, I guess they do if they hear me try and read through the game intros. No, I have my own theories on why I had trouble connecting to the story. I think the first and the maybe paramount one for me is that you are actually called the reader. Your character in the game, you play the reader.
Yeah.
So maybe I just got really mad at that. No, but you are given this book that kind of tells you all the mystical history throughout this game, and you're the reader. You never see your character in the game. And I think I had trouble connecting to the story because this game, you're really playing from the point of view of the reader, and you never see him. And I had trouble putting myself inside the world.
Wasn't the reader a girl?
You can pick, which is pretty cool about them. You can either be, you can choose to set if you're a male, female, or not disclose that and be mysterious. I also think I had trouble because the amount of world building that this game throws at you so quickly is almost dizzying. It is so rapid. You are getting new words, new phrases, new kind of ways society is built so fast that they have a almost living dictionary while you're reading the text, so you can hover over stuff. Yes, like in case
I wrote down. So obviously, this is one of the things that I didn't like too. I wrote down homework.
Yes.
I felt like I was doing homework. Like,
Yes.
here's my vocabulary list.
It was huge, dude.
And then in order to understand all the lore, you really have to read the book, which is just homework.
It is massive. The animation of that book opening was one of the funnest things I could ever do in a video game because it looks so good. But all the content, I didn't want to touch it inside there. Just like page after page after page of backstory. And it's like cool if you want to sit there. But I don't know. Maybe because of the battle system, it was so light and you wanted to play the battle system more. I had very little desire to dig deep into the content.
I don't know. For me, it was just so I love RPGs and I love storylines. And maybe it was just the sheer amount of characters that are in the game, but I don't think that they had a hard time differentiating personalities. I think that came across through the writing, but just in general, it was so much, and a part of the like we even delayed recording
Hmm.
this because I'm like, I haven't had a big enough chance to understand if I enjoy the story or not. And I'm still not, I haven't completed the game yet. And I'm still not sure. So I told Brian, hey, I need more time with this. And I still need more time with it. And I don't know if that's
Yeah.
good, you know? Like, I don't want to have to make a deciding choice on whether or not I enjoy a game until I wrap it up, you know?
Sure.
So I just think that there's just so much. And and another thing is that you're really having to do a lot of reading in between battles, and there are
Hmm.
these fun little kind of, not just the battles, but like some of these one-off instances where you're like fighting little creatures and whatnot, through different elements of the game, same
Hmm.
idea but different type of battling system slightly. And I just, those were exciting for me. But what was weird is like the battle system was so great, the story was kind of losing me, and
Hmm.
I actually found myself spending a little bit of time just on the versus mode, which is a local co-op.
Yeah.
But you can also play against AI, and
Yeah.
I liked the battle system enough to play against AI. Um, but I like I said, the story was just losing me.
Yeah, there
Um,
definitely wasn't like a flow. Like
yeah.
there was the two different games, like the battle system and the battle system took a pretty long time to finish everything, and then you had to go back into this huge story that like kept you like pulling you along, but wasn't giving you enough like strong plot points to move you forward. Uh, it almost felt like this game was Oregon Trails, and I didn't
Oh,
want to
kind
play
of.
Oregon Trails. Like I wanted to play the
Yeah.
battle system, you know.
Yeah.
Um,
Um, my last complaint, and I would say that this is a small one, and it also could just be because of like I'm the person that when you're playing an RPG and like you can customize your sword and shit, I'm like, don't care. And where like other people are like, that is sacrilege. But the skills or the trinkets and stuff that you can buy, did they felt slightly like they didn't make a big enough
yeah.
difference.
Yep.
And they were expensive. And I found myself just hoarding money rather than actually buying any of these things. I don't know if you did the same thing, but I'm like, well, these just don't seem worth it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
And
So
the
the
game
the
let you.
trinkets were not good. The shop to me
Yeah.
was not good.
The shop was horrible. Every trinket in there was kind of worthless. And like they would give you there's ways to get character specific trinkets in the game for free that were better than anything you could buy in the store. So trinkets were underwhelming overall. Last thing for me is kind of brief. You touched on it, the multiplayer aspect. You have AI and you have local co-op. Where the fuck is the online play here? Why can't I go and take Pyre into the online arena and just get stomped on by a bunch of 13-year-old kids? Like, it is a huge gap that they're missing there that they may have tried for and they couldn't bring it home by the time they wanted to launch. And maybe they
Hmm.
update it later because it feels like it's a game they set up to be played over the internet in a multiplayer fashion. And it's just not there in 2017. I don't know why. And
Yeah.
that's my last complaint.
Okay.
Just wrap it up there. Final thoughts for Pyre for you.
I am definitely a thumbs up, despite the complaints that I just said. I'm still a big thumbs up. I think that games like this are rare. It felt unique. I actually do plan on finishing it just because I'm far enough along where I want to see how it ends. But I again am I'm wondering if I'm gonna like be happy that I worried about that, or if I would be more
Right.
happy just like playing with the AI and the
Hmm.
versus mode. But in general, I thought it was a beautiful game, and I'm very happy with the purchase. So big thumbs up for me.
Yeah, I'm gonna jump in and do another thumbs up. Supergiant is just amazing at what they do. It's a very stunning piece of game development that I think if you're anywhere interested in indie gaming, you should definitely pick it up and play it just for the experience.
It
I think
does feel like it does feel almost essential for an
yeah.
indie gamer.
Yeah, this is something that's going to be a high watermark for the next few years. And if you talk with anyone about any games and you didn't play this, you're gonna look like they're gonna look at you like, dude, you didn't play this.
Wait,
So
so you're just telling people to buy it because of peer pressure?
not peer pressure, but like I'm saying, this is how big of a game it is. Like you're going to want to talk about this game,
Right.
and you're going to be like the person at the table who isn't watching Game of Thrones when everyone else is watching Game of Thrones.
Oh, okay.
You're not going to be able to talk about it.
Me.
And you're just, yeah,
I don't
you're gonna
watch Game of
You
Thrones.
don't want to be like Monica. It's embarrassing. I've seen it.
Yeah, don't be like me, guys.
So yeah, I think like we kind of harped on it a little bit with our dislikes, and I feel like it's just because it was such a good game that like those points, I was trying to embellish, like not embellish, but like point out like, man, these areas really hurt me because I was loving everything else so much. Big thumbs up for me. Big thumbs up for Monica. 2 thumbs up from Backspace Nomads for Pyre. You can find it on Steam for $19.99 on PS4 and Xbox from Supergiant Games. We're going to go to intermission, and when we come back, we're going to be talking about gaming scenes. Be right back, everybody. Thank you for listening to that Intermission Nomads. So for the second half of the podcast, me and Monica have a discussion thing that we were thinking about for a couple of weeks. We're going to be talking about...
No, wait. I want to say that Brian said he was uncomfortable being alone with me during the intermission.
Why did you bring up Intermission Talk on the live cast?
Because you said you were uncomfortable being alone with me. And that's like, we're in episode 27.
I feel like you're putting words in my mouth, but sometimes, you just stare into the camera and you're staring right through me, dude.
Oh, well,
Maybe
you know
it's
what?
you, not me.
I can't believe it. I can't believe we're at episode 27 and I make you uncomfortable. Do I make anyone else uncomfortable?
What the fuck? Is this from like when we did the episode when you did Kratos' voice?
Well, he's on part of my favorite scenes of all time. So
you're just warming it up?
Yeah, I'm warming up. I'm getting ready.
Dude, you could have been in like a rock band during the early 2000s with that voice.
I used to try to practice my metal voice. I don't listen to metal. I don't listen to metal, but I feel like I could be, a metal singer.
I agree. I would agree with your sentiment.
Thanks, man.
You're welcome.
Appreciate that.
I'm here for you.
Yeah, but yeah, we were talking about like epic scenes and what makes them and how they get set up so that they have such an impact. And we decided that we wanted to come onto the show and talk about some of our favorite scenes of all time and really dive into what makes a scene great.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess one of the things why we wanted to do this too is because Brian and I, when we are shooting the shit, apparently for one, when we're not recording, for one, I'm making him feel uncomfortable all the time.
That's an exaggeration.
And for two, but we have some really, really good conversations. So this, we're trying something a little bit different here in the sense that we're just talking.
You're getting the behind the scenes that we're going to put on air now.
Yeah. But we're still talking to you, which would be really weird if we were talking to you and we weren't recording. So I don't really know what's happening right now. But I'm going to go ahead and jump into this.
Let's do this.
So I started thinking about some of the things that I like when it comes to, like, what gives me goosebumps.
Right.
When I'm playing a game. And I think that it's death, guts, and glory.
Okay. That sounds like a tattoo you could get on your body. Like some tattoo.
It's on my forearms, dude.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, you can't see them. I'm hiding them because they're still a little red.
I love how like every other woman is like live, love, laugh, and you're like death, guts, glory. You are metal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Death, guts, glory. Okay. I feel it. You got me on that one. If I had like a double bass drum, this would be the best start to a band ever.
So, but for real, when I'm thinking like, well, I guess sex too, but that would be like death, guts, and glory, and sex. And it really, like, sex scenes a lot of times don't really, they're just like shortly titillating, and then they're for the most part forgettable.
They're so cringy, dude. Like, we
I
talked about how bad sex scenes in gaming are.
but I like them because they're cringy. Like, I like that their mouths don't actually touch and stuff like that. Like, I'm like, what's happening? Why are they just making these faces at each other?
Do you remember in Witcher 2 when they kissed? Who was the dwarf in The Witcher? I forget his name. Starts with a Z, right?
I don't remember.
The little dwarf in Witcher 3 when he's like, oh, my favorite kind of magic, like lesbomancy. Like, it's so cringy, dude. That's the stuff you like.
I live for that.
And like Mass Effect sex scenes are so horrible. Like, they're just like awkward ass shots that are moving for.
I don't need them to truly connect in order to connect with me.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Sure, you're a softcore type of sex scene watcher.
Yeah. But no, it's death, guts, and glory. I think those are the three things that make my video game list in general.
Mm-hmm.
But I do have one that kind of branches out from that. But when I started thinking about some of the video game scenes that I have truly just that have inspired me, one of them is like guts. If there is something, and this doesn't even necessarily have to be a scene. Anytime I can rip appendages off of another living beast, or do something atrocious to them, I feel like I'm having a good time. And
that's a Friday night to me.
Yeah, that's a good Friday night. And so, but I decided to like think about that a little bit more because there are a lot of violent video games out there, and so like which ones really resonate with me, and I think that one of my favorite franchises is God of War. Okay, and that's a very violent franchise in general.
Yeah,
but you know, I've played all of them, and God of War 3 was just for me the pinnacle.
Yeah.
Thus far, and I sat back and I thought about it, and I was like, why? Why did that one? Was it just the time in my life? Was I just angry as angry as Kratos, and I was just like living vicariously through him? Because I was in a bad relationship at the time.
You just wanted some revenge.
Yeah, like, is that what it was? Like, what? But in reality...
See that face you're making? That's why I'm uncomfortable with you.
Oh,
Hello?
okay. Well, that's my normal face, Brian.
Okay.
But in reality, in God of War 3, you are doing the impossible by killing the gods. And I love that. I think that in video games, and especially with how much we talk about it on this podcast, with escapism, to be able to kill something greater than yourself is just so awesome.
Yeah.
And so on my list, literally all death scenes in God of War 3 are on my list. But specifically, Helios, when he takes him and he rips his fucking head off.
Okay.
Just boners.
Just fucking death boners all around.
Death boners.
If you ever want to start a metal band with me, we're calling it Death Boners.
Okay, let's do it. I'm fucking stoked. That's a great metal band name.
Right?
Death
we
boners.
got this.
Yeah, no, I really like that. But it is just such a visceral, just disgusting scene, but more so, there's always this like shit talking, or like almost sometimes there's pandering in these scenes. But you are Kratos, and you are taking these gods out one by one, and it just seems like life.
Right.
And so like guts in those scenes is that does it for me.
I think I kind of like pull from some gaming scenes the way you do, that you're doing something or you're in something that you normally couldn't do. Because something that made my list is like something that was like very shocking, very jarring. I don't want to say it felt good, but it definitely is a made me feel something I've never felt before.
Hmm.
Is Modern Warfare 2 in Call of Duty, where you, I think I've brought this up on the show before, but not in this context, where you play a terrorist going through an airport with another, with like a terrorist cell, and you just start opening up fire on all like the civilians and all the people just hanging out in the airport trying to get on a plane. That is almost kind of like the same thing you're talking about, right? Where
Hmm.
there's this big thing you can't do, and then now you're doing it. Like it's pulling on feelings that you don't normally experience. I think. So that for me is something that definitely makes my list, just in terms of like what is going on.
Hmm.
Uh, and you know, I think like the first one, they had a nuclear scene where you actually see like first point of view, like you're getting exploded, like a nuke goes off and you're
Yeah.
dead. Like you
Yeah.
don't ever experience that, you never will, hopefully. And like playing through that character, you do feel that,
Yeah.
and I think that's something you have to strive for in any kind of scene you develop, is that you have to make the player feel.
For sure. I mean, that's the thing too is, and I almost wonder like, do sociopaths like video games? Because
Ooh.
think about that for a second. Because part of the reason why you would want like enjoy these games is because you're being put into the persona of another person.
Uh-huh.
You're going through the experience of another person. And like I just feel like even when in these gut scenes and these like disgusting or like controversial or upsetting scenes, you're still experiencing something as
Mhm.
a different persona. So I just like whatever. I mean, if I ever go back and get my master's, that'll be my thesis.
Just
I'll
bring this
come up
back.
with it and I'll title it Death Boners. But
This is my dissertation panel. It is death boners.
yeah, my dissertation. Do sociopaths have feelings, and do they enjoy death in video games?
Does the sociopath get death boners?
Yeah.
Interesting.
um,
Interesting.
but so going along with my kind of theme here is, I guess we talked about guts, but death.
Hmm.
I'm not talking about death in the same sense as guts, because guts assume that something's been killed. I'm talking about death in regards to the death of a character that you have either fought against and
Hmm.
had become frustrated with, or a character that you have grown attached to. And I can think of a couple of different scenes that really hit me. For one, I don't know if you ever played Heavy Rain, but Heavy Rain
Hmm.
is a game about a serial killer on the loose, and you play as a character, Ethan. Well, you play as a few different characters, but one of the characters is the father, Ethan Mars, whose son is taken and is missing, and
Hmm.
he actually starts throughout the game. They start wondering if he is the origami killer.
The
Um,
origami killer. That's his real name.
well, yeah, in the game, yeah.
Okay.
But
It just
it's
it sounds like the most delightful killer ever.
he's just so
Look at this
pleasant.
bird flapping. Now you're dead.
But throughout the Heavy Rain is very, very, very heavy with scenes. I mean,
Hmm.
almost every scene you are working your way through it with actions. It's definitely a story based game. But and there are multiple endings that you can have. And so I guess um, one of the most powerful scenes in one of those endings is that the father is searching for his son. The cops are searching for his son. They're kind of suspecting that it might be the father. And you have a journalist that's also looking. And at the very end, Ethan Mars, the father, um, ends up he's been following these clues and kind of being tortured by this person, and mentally tortured by this person,
Sure.
not physically. And he has to make the decision on whether or not to drink poison,
Hmm.
in which case he'll get the next clue to find his son and be able to save him, or not. And he has
Ooh.
no clue whether or not he is going to be able to save his son if he's even going to get the clue. He doesn't know if it's real poison. There's no, and I think that even the threat of death in that scene is just really, really impactful.
Did you drink the poison?
I did. Well, I actually played through multiple different endings on that game, and that's one where like the endings are truly different. Like who survives and everything is different. So it's a really great game. Another game where death is so super super impactful is Walking Dead.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't even know. Like, I don't want to give any spoilers.
Oh, spoiler away! That game's been out for a while. You're
no,
good,
man,
okay,
no. But if you've never played it, you have to play it. I don't, you just have to go and play it. But death in that game is also super impactful because you truly, again, it's a story-based game. And so this is a different type of, this isn't as much action as it is story-based, but you grow truly attached to these characters. And I can't think of a game where I have cried as hard as playing The Walking Dead. So.
Really?
Yeah.
I never played through it, but I played like a little bit of the first one. I think I know who dies just from playing almost there. Like I can see who, like what characters would give you that much of an impact.
Mm-hmm.
But I think for me, like the biggest death in gaming, I think like it was the granddaddy of gaming scenes. You know what I mean? Would be like Sephiroth killing Ares in Final Fantasy VII. That was the first gaming scene that's like ever affected me as a human being.
Why? Because you're a little weeaboo and you had a crush on it?
Maybe I did. All right. Myth Death Mode over there. Maybe some of us have feelings. No, I think I'm not sure if you've ever or like what like big video games in the past killed off like a main character like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like if that just, I don't know if that was like the first time that a big game did that, or if it was the first time we kind of seen it in 3D, and like you were more part of the world because you're getting put into this 3D world. Then all of a sudden, Sephiroth drops that big ass sword into her, and you're left there picking up the pieces as Cloud, not knowing how to go on.
Yeah.
And so I think that is like death definitely is a huge part of a good scene, but I really feel like to do that, like you have to earn the right to kill one of your characters. You just can't do it and be like, all right, feel that. Like as a game developer, you have to earn that, and that's through very good storytelling. And I don't think all game developers are good storytellers.
Yep. No, absolutely not. And I think that's what makes a super impactful scene is the fact that you have started to tell a story. And I could say like if we just had a podcast where we judged scenes, it would be like my mouth dropping meter. Like I literally drop my jaw drops on scenes. I don't care if I am streaming, if I'm alone in my room, it's like and then at some point I just unhinge my jaw and it like drops and I could probably eat like a human baby, and that's part of my metal. That's going to be one of my metal gimmicks, by the way, on stage. But that it's true, like, but it has to be a great story. So yes, death can really matter if the story is great.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of a game where like someone died. I wish I would have thought to go like think about this deeper and go research it. Where like someone died, and like you're just kind of like, meh, okay. Guess I'll see you next time, bud. See you on the next playthrough. We
can do this. Yeah. We can talk about this in the future.
Okay, I definitely want to go look into that.
We can find scenes that it didn't work and we didn't care.
Because apart, like when I was thinking about this, apart from like death scenes that like you didn't earn. Have you ever played Final Fantasy X? Did you go through that game?
No.
You want to talk about a whole bunch of scenes that were just cringy. They didn't do good enough storytelling. The acting in it was bad. There is a scene in Final Fantasy X where like you just went through this like huge like loss and like you're really dealing with a lot with the party, and then just out of nowhere, Yuna, the female attraction of the protagonist Titus, she goes, well, sometimes you just gotta laugh, and so she starts laughing, and then he's like. And so it's like a minute scene of both these idiots just laughing back and forth to each other. And the best part is they turn back to the rest of the group, and the rest of the group is just staring. And you, the audience, you're the player, you're the group, like, what the fuck am I playing? Just these two losers laughing out loud, just loving life.
That sounds amazing.
It is amazing. It is. I'll send you a link. Everyone should go look it up on YouTube. Like FF10 laughing scene. It is the worst part of gaming. It's like they found out how to do 3D scenes and they just wanted to use them, and they're awful. It was awful. It was a game of awful, cringy moments, and that was like the top of the mountain right there.
Mm-hmm. So the last thing I had said was glory, and unfortunately I don't have a really good example of glory outside of just like there are so many battle scenes in tons of video games, so I don't have one necessarily pinpointed. Maybe you have a game that you've played where it just had that battle scene, but I feel like battle scenes in video games can have the same impact as a battle scene in a film. Where you see that war, that adversary, and a lot of times I'm talking about like the large scale, which is part of the reason why I can't think of like any one in particular, where it's just war, you know, and you're fighting for something bigger, and they're drawing on that emotion, like that desperation and everything, and I think that those are really impactful. But so I took glory and I kind of twisted it. I was thinking originally about just those massive battle scenes, but then I ended up taking it and actually kind of turning it on its head with the one that I'm about to say. And again, this is a game that I cannot go into great detail about because for one, this is an indie game.
Sure.
And if you've never played this game, you absolutely, I highly, highly recommend it. It is story-based as well. But it's the beginner's guide. And this was another game that deeply, deeply impacted me. And unfortunately, I can't go into like exquisite detail about it.
What are you doing to me?
I know, but there is a glory behind just the work being done. And this game is about a game developer.
Okay.
And it is about kind of the glory behind this work being done, being told by the narrator who loves the games that this person made. And then it kind of gets twisted on its head from there. But it's actually the opposite of glory that's being achieved here. But just glory in general, I think, you know, that can create scenes that are overwhelming, of triumph, really, that we don't get to experience on a daily basis, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, like, there are certain days where it's like, you know, I wake up, like, most of my days, I'm just doing the same shit over and over. And my glory is, like, I weigh my pee at work. Like, I'll weigh myself before I go to the bathroom and after. And some days, my glory is just that I peed 1.8 pounds.
That's an impressive, glorious pee. You should be proud of yourself.
I was proud of myself, but that doesn't give me goosebumps, you know what I mean? So I require video games at certain points in my life to like provide that for me.
Yeah.
Cause you know, that's all I got, man.
Oh my God. Yeah, hopefully that someone makes a indie game where you just drink a bunch of water and see how much pee you can hold on to. That's your glory.
But then that would just take away from my glory in real life.
I know, but you want to digitalize everything. That's what gaming is.
Yeah.
I think the only big battle scenes I can think of are like from a movie game, like the Lord of the Ring games when you play through as third person. That's a big glory, but that's like movie based.
Right.
Other than that, like Halo maybe had some bigger moments. Gears of War was actually kind of a cool war game that was bigger, so I could see that. Those are definitely ones that stayed with me and made me feel like I had bigger moments than, you know, me taking a dump and weighing it out, I guess.
Well, and also just even thinking about like the trailers. What do they normally show in the trailers that gets people really excited? Like in these war games and everything, it's masses. It's like two forces charging towards one another, and there's something really intense about that.
Yeah, it's very. That's the human experience, you know. It's like you versus you.
Yeah.
What do you got going on?
Yeah.
For me, I think is a great scene is a like accumulation of everything you've been feeling throughout your entire journey and gameplay through this game. And like so many games do this well and hit kind of the same marks. And the best example, and maybe it's just because it's so recent in my mind, so it's very fresh, would have to be Rhyme, the game we played through it. I don't know, 5 or 10 podcasts ago, like around that area. That game tied everything up so well and was really moving. It dealt with death. It dealt with loss. They earned everything they told in that scene, and it was like a surprise. It wasn't like a gotcha moment. Like, oh, it's not what you thought. They very smartly wove you to this point where you started to understand what the story was actually doing. It had to deal with like the death of this guy's son, and the last scene you're finding out that you're playing through this guy's depression and his healing process. That's what you're playing, and that scene was so moving and like just gripping.
Yeah.
And really, I thought about it for like a week after I played that game.
Wow.
And that's what I think I love about indie games is that they can do it on such a small scale and like take these risks that like I didn't think about Gears of War after I beat it. I was like, oh, I beat that giant worm. Fuck yeah. All right, going to sleep.
Yeah.
Like I beat Rhyme, and I was laying in bed thinking about like, oh my god, like this guy was depressed. I can't believe like he was holding on to the kid's cape. Like,
did you ever play that Dragon Cancer?
What the fuck is Dragon Cancer?
It's a game about being the father of a toddler with cancer that dies. And it's based off of the creator's real life. He had a son that died, and he turned it into a game.
The Dragon Cancer.
That Dragon Cancer, yeah.
Dude, I'm going to go look this up. That's incredible.
Yeah. And
is it like a mystery, or is it like up front, that's what's going on?
You know that's what's going on, and it's talking about his story, basically. But there is one scene where I'm actually getting goosebumps. I shit you not. Okay. I'm getting them right now. You can see. I got long ass arm hair. It's like, yeah, I could make this into a mohawk right now. That Dragon Cancer, there is a scene that is so disturbing, but not because of any violence that's happening in it.
Mm-hmm.
You are playing as the father. You're in the hospital room.
Okay.
And you are trying to figure out how to get your son to stop crying.
Oh my.
And
what?
And he won't stop crying because he's in pain.
That is.
And it is
heart-wrenching.
One of the most agonizing. I mean, just think about like babies crying in general. You instantly want to help them.
Yeah.
And I think that part of the reason, this is funny, but like on a plane, when people get really irritated by a baby crying, I don't even think it's necessarily because that baby's crying. I think it's just because you want babies to not cry.
Yeah. Give that baby some whiskey.
Yeah, you want them to just not have this little baby, like they're uncomfortable and they don't know what to do with themselves and whatever. Mm-hmm. And in this scene, it just solidified it. You want to help your son, and there is nothing you can do, and he keeps crying louder and louder, and it was so
my heart's breaking just hearing about that, dude.
Dude, it sucked.
Wow.
And you start to panic. It's almost like the same feeling that you get on a plane where you're like, why won't this baby be quiet? What's wrong with the baby? Yeah. But like in the game, you're doing everything you possibly can to try to get your son to like calm down and not hurt.
Yeah. Ugh. That's amazing. Ugh. I want to go look at this game now. That's pretty crazy, dude.
Dude, it was a sad
Can you imagine
story.
being the developer making that game?
I feel like it had to have been in some way comforting to tell that story and
like healing and stuff.
Process it.
Like I'm sure it must have been healing, but like the amount of time it takes to like develop and make a game, I'll tell stories from family members like passing and stuff, and it's a brief story, and I'll start to like have to catch myself. Yeah. I couldn't imagine having to make a whole game like that. That's so brave.
Maybe you got to start making all of those games, Brian.
First, I got to make a baby.
What? No, you already have stories. You already have stories about people passing. I thought you meant
make a baby dying game.
I'm not telling you to make a baby so it can die, Brian. Jesus Christ.
For the art.
Man. But no, I don't know. I felt like that game as a whole was just extremely touching, and and really did an excellent job specifically in that scene of creating like an unrest.
Sure.
But anyway, yeah, those are kind of my three that I figured like made a great video game scene was death, guts, and glory. Maybe a little bit of like cancer and I don't and like uncomfortable, shocking moments. But in general, those were the three that I think like makes up some of the best scenes that we've ever.
No, I agree.
That I've
You're
ever
definitely
experienced.
everything that like. It's like those things in real life affect you so much, and then seeing them in a game where it's like curated for you, like your emotions are being curated for this moment.
Right.
It's definitely what makes gaming scenes, I think, better than movie scenes in a lot of sense because you're so much more connected to the characters. Like you're playing these characters, you're living with them.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So it's definitely a unique aspect that gaming brings to entertainment that definitely movies can't. It's almost like a visual, like a book you can get that way the same way a game can. In movies and TV, I don't think you can do that with.
Yeah.
So.
Do you have you ever cried playing a game?
I was close to crying in Rhyme. I don't think
Okay.
I've ever like full on cried that I can think of, but Rhyme definitely moved me.
Okay. All right. I was
You?
just curious.
Don't throw that out there. I want to know.
Yeah, I already said
yeah,
I
The Walking
cried.
Dead.
I cried during The Walking Dead. I actually cried during The Beginner's Guide, and that's not even a sad story. It's just like the twist on it was. Actually, it is a sad story, but it's a sad story in a very like particular sense. It's more about betrayal.
Yeah.
And that just really struck me. But yeah, no, man, I'm a big crybaby, so.
All right. You big crybaby. Yeah, I don't think I have. I'm going to think about that now. Why would you do this to me?
I don't know. Don't worry about it.
I don't
You
want to
can
open
cry
my
tonight.
emotions.
Why don't you just cry tonight about it, Brian?
I will.
Me
I'll
doing
cry about
to
this
you.
podcast and thinking about having to do the next meeting alone with you. That'll bring me to tears. I don't want to do it. All right, my dudes, that's episode 27 for Backspace Nomads. Make sure you connect with us on Twitter at Backspace Nomads and on our Patreon, patreon.com/Backspace Nomads. We'll be back next week with our review of Tacoma. Bye, everybody.
Bye.